All right, we are finding out a little bit more about this agreement among House and Senate Democratic leaders and the president that they've agreed to pass Harvey aid. This is the $8 billion package and an increase in the debt limit that will keep the government funded through December 15th. So it's really amounting to about a 3-month extension and no guarantee that they can do all the other stuff they want to do. But this is the closest they can get to a deal on which all parties agree. A 3-month extension to keep the government lights on, to avoid going to default, all that stuff, if, for example, they didn't raise that. But this seems to be the means by which they're not only providing the initial tranche of Harvey relief, $8 billion, but that they're optimistic it will be passed in the Senate as well and give a 3-month lease on life. But that's the way we cobble these deals together. It's not pretty. You're seeing quite clearly how the sausage is made, and it can be sloppy. And sloppy is the name right now for a hurricane that is gaining steam. We've already told you about Florida in its state of emergency. South Carolina and its governor, Henry McMaster, declaring a state of emergency in his state as well. The president already declaring emergencies in the likes of Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. There's been a mandatory evacuation in effect for the Florida Keys that begins at 7 p.m. Up until now, they've been telling those visiting the area to get out. Now they're telling those who live in the area, get out. Miami-Dade mayor is also looking at 4 shelters in his county to harness support for those who need it. The Miami-Dade County Commissioner, Esteban Bovo, with us now. Commissioner, thank you for taking the time. What kind of response
Thank you for having me.
Do you get from people when you tell them, all right, we have these shelters ready? Are some of them leery of going? Do they have to be pushed to go? What are you hearing?
Look, you get all kinds, obviously, and what we encourage is for people to heed the warnings. We've become quite sophisticated here in South Florida, tracking different storms. We've been exposed to different storms, and there are still many residents here that remember Andrew and the devastation that Andrew brought to us. So in many cases, we're finding folks to be very cooperative, understanding, and as county government, we've taken this storm very, very seriously. We've dispensed with a lot of the protocols that we normally do, where we gradually ramp up, and we've ramped up pretty quickly here.
Do you think your state county is even ready for what could be mass evacuations? I do remember with Andrew back in 1992 that a lot of those evacuations began as voluntary and then they were ordered. But the problem is everyone seemed to take to the roads at the same time. How do you avoid that, or can you?
It's almost impossible to avoid, and it is problematic. And when Monroe County, which is south of us, begins to evacuate, obviously that has an impact in Miami-Dade County, and then the ripple effect goes up the state depending on the track of the storm. You know, we encourage folks to plan early. We do know that there are many people that are contemplating flying out of Miami-Dade County and Broward County, although we're hearing a lot of reports that the pricing on a lot of flights right now has really become unattainable. So, look, we try to get people to cooperate early, prepare early, and one of the things we do ask them to do is to make sure they've got at least 3 days, 72 hours worth of provisions in the aftermath of the storm, because, you know, the cavalry can't show up and start helping folks that did not prepare.
Yeah, I know you're right about that. You know, Commissioner, I've heard, too, of these sporadic reports of, I wouldn't call it price gouging, but finding a cheap ticket is tough, airline tickets. And we're told as well that all commercial air service will likely be suspended by tomorrow night. So people are locked in place by then, right?
Yeah, my understanding that the FAA rule is that as soon as we start getting sustained winds at 35 miles an hour, the airport will shut down.
Gotcha. We
expect that to happen sometime on Friday. And yes, we've been hearing about, I wouldn't call it price gouging, you know, it's literally in demand. And what we have heard, though, is, you know, a price from Miami to New York somewhere around $2,000, and that really becomes almost a joke. And obviously, we have a lot of agencies down here that will be. Our state attorney's office has already put out statements as far as price gouging with gasoline, propane gas, water. Those are the things that we try to watch out the most for. Yeah.